Learners, welcome back to our channel. My name is Ishan Kesavani and I will be covering object-oriented programming concepts. So, what are the object-oriented programming concepts? The object-oriented programming concepts are that it consists of objects, classes, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. So, as we all know that Java is an object-oriented programming language, so we are covering these object-oriented programming concepts. So let's look at these concepts one by one. So what is an object? An object is an instance of a class. So an object basically represents the real world entities such as book, pen, paper, all these are objects. Car is also an object. So an object represents the real world entities. And if we consider the object from the programming point of view, an object can include a data structure, a variable, or a function. And it also has a memory location allocated to it. So now what is a class? A class is basically a blueprint of an object. So classes in Java determines how an object will behave and what the objects will contain. So basically the objects refers to the related states and behaviors, and those states and behaviors are defined by the classes. So now this is a simple syntax of our basic Java program. Here I have defined a class named instructors and I have set this class as public so it can be accessed from everywhere. So here there are two kinds of one method and a variable. So I have defined the object of this instructors class. So to define the object of this instructors class, the new keyword is used and the object name here is IP. So I can make as many objects as I need. So now looking at the encapsulation. So what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is basically the wrapping of data and methods together. Meaning we want our code to be wrapped in a single class. Then what we do is we use the method of we use encapsulation. And encapsulation is basically a concept of data hiding because we used to hide the data here. So how we are going to achieve this data hiding? We are going to achieve this data hiding by using the private access modifier. So if we use the private access modifier, then that variable or method which are defined using the private access modifier can be accessed from within the class only. So encapsulation is defined as the wrapping up of data under a single unit. It is a mechanism that binds together code and data it manipulates. As in encapsulation, the data in a class is hidden from the other classes using the data hiding concept which I have told you earlier, which is achieved by making the members of or methods of the classes private. So now let's see an example to better understand what is the encapsulation is. So here some there are some private variables named as brand, speed, gear, and color. And here you can see that there are some public variables also were named as accelerate, change gear, and brake. These are all public methods defined. So if anybody wants to use these methods, he can use this method, but access to these private variables are denied from outside the class. So to use these privately defined variables, we have to use these methods. Only with the help of these methods we can use this, and we cannot change these variables because they are defined as private. So now what are the advantages of encapsulation? So advantages of encapsulation include data hiding as we have seen it earlier, and it also offers more flexibility and reusability. So how it offers reusability? So encapsulation improves the reusability and easy to change with the new requirements because we define the variable methods and we can use it anywhere. And but if we define the methods and variables private, but it can then it cannot be accessed. So this makes it reusable. So now seeing the let's look at the basic encapsulation example. So here I have defined a class named instructor, and within that I have named a variable named as name. So this variable is defined as private. So as we all know that privately defined variables cannot be accessed outside the class. So this name variable cannot be accessed from outside this class. But you can see that here I have defined a method named getName, which is defined as public access modifier. So this method can be used from anywhere outside this class. But this name as a variable cannot be accessed directly, but it can be accessed with the help of this getName method. So now here I have made a method named setName, which is used to set the name of the variable name. So now I have defined another class, public class run instructor, and here I have made a defined a main method, and within that I have made the object of the instructor class. So to define the object of the instructor class, we just need this new keyword. So now setting the name of this name variable from outside this instructor class can be done easily with the help of ip.setName, and within that we will have to give the name. So what will this do is this will set the name of this variable as Ishan, and when I will print it out it will give me as the name is Ishan, because I have given name colon, and here the name will concat. So now let's look at what is inheritance. So inheritance in Java is a mechanism in which one object acquires all the properties and behaviors of a parent object. It consists of a base class and a child class. So what happens in inheritance is we have two or more classes. So if one class wants to inherit the properties of the other class, then the concept of inheritance comes. So there are three kinds of inheritance in the object-oriented programming language, and basically there are five kinds of inheritance, but the other two kinds, which is multiple inheritance and hybrid inheritance, are used only with the interfaces. So I will not be covering those at the present time. So I will be covering only these three kinds of inheritance, and first is single inheritance. So what happens in single inheritance? Suppose we have a class named A, and a class named B. So if this class wants to inherit all the properties of this class A, then it can use this class B can extend the inherit this class A with the use of the extend keyword. And in multi-level inheritance we have layers of different layers of the classes. Here the B class will inherit the A class and C class will inherit the B class. And in hierarchical inheritance there are multiple child class, and there is only one base class or parent class. So here the class A is known as the base class, which has two child classes B and C. So you can see that I have written something single. What is single inheritance? When a class inherits another class, it is known as single inheritance, as I have told you earlier. And multi-level inheritance, when there is a chain of inheritance, it is known as a multi-level inheritance. And similarly in hierarchical inheritance, when two or more classes inherits a single class, then it is known as hierarchical inheritance. So now let's see what is abstraction. So abstraction is the property in which we hide the details but show only the essential features. For example, let us consider a car driver. A car driver drives the car, but he does not know how the car is made. He only drives the car and make the use of the car, but he is unaware of the fact what is inside the car, what are the engines, and what are the different functionalities occurring inside the car. So data abstraction is the property by the virtue of which only the essential details are displayed to the user. The trivial or non-essential units are not displayed to the user. Data abstraction may also be defined as the process of identifying only the required characteristics of an object, ignoring the irrelevant details. So now, what is the difference between encapsulation and abstraction? Encapsulation is basically data hiding, while abstraction is data detail hiding. So in encapsulation, we hide the data, that is, we wrap the data and methods together. But in abstraction, we hide the details. So while encapsulation groups together data and methods, in encapsulation we group data and methods that act upon the data, whereas the data abstraction deals with exposing the interface to the user and hiding the details of the implementation. So now let us look at the polymorphism. So what is a polymorphism? Polymorphism means one name many forms, meaning we have the same name and we can use it in the multiple forms. For example, if we define a method named as shape, so we all know that the shape can be of different forms, whether it be a rectangle, circle, or triangle, and ellipse, etc. So this so we use the polymorphism feature if we want to make a main base class, which is inherited by the child classes. So there are mainly two types of polymorphism. One is compile time polymorphism and the other is runtime polymorphism. So what is compile time polymorphism? So compile time polymorphism is also known as static polymorphism, whereas runtime polymorphism is known as the dynamic polymorphism. So how we will achieve this static polymorphism or compile time polymorphism? This static or compile time polymorphism can be achieved by function overloading. Function overloading occurs within the same class where the method names are the same but have the different parameters. And how we will achieve this runtime polymorphism? Runtime parameters occurs between the two different classes. In this, the methods names will be same and as well as the parameters will also be the same, but those methods will be in the different classes. So it is a process in which a function call to the overridden method is resolved at the runtime. This type of polymorphism is achieved by method overriding. So here is an example of function overloading and function overriding. You can see that here is a class named test which has some functions named as fun, and if we have passed different parameters into it. But here we can see that it is a concept of function overriding where we have two different classes. One is base class and other is derived class. So here you can see that the function name is same in both the classes and both the functions have the same parameter. So this concept is known as function overriding, whereas this concept is known as function overloading. So that's all. Thank you. Kindly subscribe to our channel for more such programming videos.